Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to greet you all, connected from all over the world, all of you to this very special moment in a year, which is our grant holders meeting for the successful projects that you represent here. I'm happy to greet 520 coordinators and beneficiaries of our action, capacity building in higher education, from more than 110 countries. But I'm also happy, of course, to greet my colleagues from the European Commission, from the European Union delegations, from the national Erasmus offices, and from the national agencies, and the Erasmus national focal points. We will have a dedicated two-day grant holders meeting in this area, capacity building in the field of higher education. And this meeting is dedicated to you, that are the newly selected projects that were selected under the last call, successful in 2022. First of all, of course, this means that I would like to congratulate you for being successful. And welcome you all very warmly indeed. Some of you will continue being part of, and others will be entering the Erasmus Plus program family. This is definitely already a very big achievement, I would say. Myself, I have only just recently become a member of this family, and I'm very much looking forward to exploring, thanks to you here and my colleagues and our collaborators, the ways of working of this beautiful program, its challenges and its benefits. And these first meetings of beneficiaries are usually the nicest occasions, I would say, where we from the agency and the Commission can finally get to know the people behind the projects. And even though this is still online today, I sincerely hope that there will be opportunities for us to meet and exchange face to face. This is exactly what we aim to do these following 2 days: offer you space to develop cooperation, offer you support for a successful implementation of your project, and in order to be able to make an impact in your own country and for your own society, but of course also inspiring good practice in other countries and for other institutions. This morning, we want to offer a more in-depth insight into the political background for your and our common action. We want to offer you also, as the coordinators and partners, the reflections and motivation behind our overarching priorities to which your project results shall eventually contribute. This afternoon, we will address more practical issues such as grant management, rules and reporting requirements. It's all essential stuff. And we will look closely at the life cycle of the projects. Tomorrow, the event will have an even more interactive approach, as we will be divided in regional workshops in the morning and in thematic workshops in the afternoon, in order to create really opportunities for new and experienced practitioners to exchange knowledge and to network with other projects with a similar subject area or a partner country. And in the meantime, an interactive online platform is at your disposal for online networking as a space for you to exchange, and also as a kind of marketplace. So I encourage you to look at it and make good use of it. Now, before I give the floor to our newly appointed acting director of the executive agency, Sophie Bernards, who will address us a key speech, I would like us to inspire ourselves a little bit via some positive energy by answering a Slido question that you hopefully will be seeing popping up at my left-hand side. I need to look at this. Do we see these beautiful positive words? I think, and I hope that you feel the positive energy around the room. There's a lot of hope in the air, and I think we need this these times. Later on in the morning, we will hear experiences, in particular from Ukraine. And I think our thoughts are also going to other regions of the world that are particularly hardly hit these days. So I think hope is one key word that I think all of us have on our mind this morning, and that we hope to be able to stimulate further with our discussions today. I would now like to give the floor to Sophie Bernards. As I said, she's the acting director and of the executive agency, but she's also the head of department for the Erasmus Plus program and for the EU aid volunteers at our executive agency. So Sophie, I give you the floor for about 10 minutes. Thanks very much.
Yes, sorry. Do you hear me now? Okay. Good morning, and I'm very glad to read that the words that appeared mainly on the screen just during the slide were collaboration and cooperation, because here are really key words that you will hear throughout my speech today. And first, I really would like to congratulate to all of you that have your capacity building in higher education project now selected. We got 620 proposals, only 150 could be approved, and that means that you are 1 out of 4 that made it through. So again, congratulations for becoming part of the Erasmus Plus program in this first selection made within this current multi-annual financial framework 2021-2027. Within this financial framework, Erasmus Plus now has a budget of 26 billion euros. And so you can see that it almost doubled its budget as compared to the previous period from 2014 to 2021. And in addition, this will be complemented by 2.2 billion from the EU external instruments. Again, this is important to see that education is clearly valued across the EU different policy areas. And it really shows the importance that the EU gives to the program in which you will be participating as from now on. With this increased budget, Erasmus Plus, we hope, will be more inclusive, more digital and greener. Again, those are important words that you will hear again during the speech and during the different sessions that you will have during these days. We will participate together in civic engagement, encourage civic engagement, and provide for sustainable growth and also a skilled workforce on a global scale. We hope that your projects will strengthen the capacity of higher education institutions, that they will provide innovative approaches, exchange good practices, and build networks. That's why we are here together today. Through your actions, capacity building in higher education will play an important role in strengthening resilience, in supporting recovery and innovation across the globe. And this conference is really a great opportunity for us all to meet, to network, to synergize with your peers, notably about the responses to the overlapping crises that our global society is facing. And we really hope that CBHE projects can help providing solutions and creating opportunities out of our unforeseen challenges. Our colleagues from Ukraine that are here with us today are really striking examples of crises that, well, they face today. They will tell you more about it and show that the EU is not just an impersonal administration, but really a value-driven organism that is able to adapt quickly to meet the needs of the people that it supports. And this counts for various EU initiatives towards crisis regions, but it's particularly evident for Erasmus Plus and within capacity building in higher education approach towards Ukraine, as you will hear later on today. Of course, this conference is not meant to be an end in itself, but the event should be really the catalyst ensuring that your project delivers the best possible value to the Erasmus Plus program. We want that throughout the project's implementation period, you look back at this conference as a reference point, that your project will continue building on this event in the near future, and that together with your partners, you will develop and build on this on what you will have heard today. We in the executive agency are responsible for the management of what we call the centralized actions of the programs funded by the European Union in different fields, in the fields of education, culture, audiovisual, sport, citizenship, and volunteering. So a broad array of topics, but all very close to the hearts of European citizens and world citizens, I would say. In short, we support projects that respect quality, that give impetus to lifelong learning, that empower people and societies to contribute to the policy priorities chosen by the EU in a sustainable, substantial, and innovative way across the world. And why do I insist on this point? Well, you might remember that last September, during our State of the Union speech, the President von der Leyen made 2023 the European Year of Skills. She also called for a much bigger investment in education. And during that speech, she also referred to Global Gateway, the investment plan that she announced a year ago, and that will be discussed with you in a specific thematic workshop. Just in short now, Global Gateway is, of course, global in scope, adapting to the needs and strategic interests of different regions. It's implemented in a Team Europe approach, and it builds on several important documents. It builds on the achievement of the EU-Asia connectivity strategy, on the recently concluded connectivity partnerships with India, as well as the economic and investment plans for Western Balkans, the Eastern Partnership, and the Southern Neighborhood. But of course, without forgetting the Africa, Central Asia, and Latin America regions. Both those initiatives that I was referring to, European Year of Schools and Global Gateway, are inherently connected. And there are two wheels of the Erasmus plus CBHE carriage, but you and your consortia are, of course, sitting in a driver's seat. Indeed, the doubling of the budget that I was mentioning before can only be justified if Erasmus Plus projects provide innovative solutions to the needs they identified, and if the results are valorized. So quality implementation, of course, is only a first step, but it must be followed by a strategy to disseminate and exploit the results. And of course, we count on that as well. And it's really pivotal that you understand that your projects are part of a bigger strategic approach and of a new story. Because community, cooperation, living and working together are values that are invoked across the globe and that are more important than ever. And we really hope that your projects will become policy catalysts. This is what a successful project should strive for. Your aim should be to ensure that the project leaves a legacy behind, in the sense that the project shouldn't finish as soon as the final payment is processed. But on the contrary, its direct and indirect benefits should, of course, continue. I also would like to underline the need for a greener and more sustainable approach in your ways of working and moving, taking into account the planetary limits that we disregarded for too long. So I would like to encourage you to incorporate green practices in all projects through an environmental friendly approach when implementing the activities. And this will start with calculating the impact that you might have, considering also setting up a plan, taking into account the cost benefit in environmental terms. And this includes items like mobility, digital pollution, evaluation of the electronic equipment that you might purchase. But this might also be adapted during the contractual period. If you have better ideas during your project, you can always take into consideration this environmental approach. In this field, really like in many others, universities are and must be game changers and behavioral influencers. And this is an issue that, is very close to the heart of young people, but also very close to the heart of the EU Commission, which committed itself to our European Green Deal. And this is really a key priority of all our Commission policies, including, of course, education. Now, let me conclude by sharing with you the questions that I think are important to keep in mind throughout the sessions, throughout the discussions that you will have later. First is, can we ensure sustainable impact and deliver on the priorities addressed? Secondly, can we valorize the international dimension of the consortia? And thirdly, how can we use the potential of EU support and the global network we are now part of? So I think those are three important questions here, as I said, to keep in mind and on which we'll come back throughout the week, throughout the different days of it, throughout the different sessions. We need really your experience, we need your know-how, we need your enthusiasm to deliver on all these fronts. And I really want to use this opportunity to thank you again for the important work that you do every day by giving the Erasmus Plus program an international dimension and helping to overcome barriers. International of higher education must be a dynamic system of institutions, learners and teachers. It must be a collective association of the academic world and social economic partners. It must be international in scope, of course, to overcome artificial boundaries. As you know, the EU and the Erasmus Plus capacity building higher education program is infused with internationalization, universalism, diversity, something that of course reflects the reality of living in different countries, but under a common roof, where learning from each other and people-to-people contact really brings a mutual benefit to tackle the global challenges that we are all facing now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to help you, to support you in making your project implementation easier. Nonetheless, of course, you remain the sole owners of your project. So I wish you well with your project implementation, and I'm very confident that this meeting will be useful, that it will be a fruitful exercise in sharing good practices, in highlighting common problems, but most important, in proposing common solutions. So all the best with your project, and thank you for your attendance here.
Thank you very much, Sophie, for your very inspiring words of encouragement to our big community out there on the internet. I would like to now turn to a very special session this morning to talk about higher education institutions in times of crisis. And obviously we will be looking at the Ukrainian example and what the support of our program can mean and bring to a country in distress. We will look at very practical examples of such support. And this country, obviously, Ukraine, is nowadays really on the front line of defending its and our democracy against an unprecedented Russian aggression. And for almost 1 year now, people in Ukraine have suffered, but also have displayed, I think we all agree, exemplary bravery. They have shown the world how impressive unity can be, and how it can help inspire strength and action. I think it's fair to say that the European Union has been really on the Ukrainian side since day one of this terrible war. And also our program, Erasmus Plus Capacity Building in Higher Education, has really made an effort to support. And here I'm also reiterating, of course, what Sophie mentioned, but what our president most of all said, Mrs. von der Leyen, when she went to Kiev with members of the college last week. It was already her 4th time, and she continuously stresses our support to Ukraine. And if I haven't said it explicitly earlier when I mentioned other regions in the world that are today under particular stress, of course, I'm referring to Turkey and Syria, from where these horrible pictures are reaching us, and I think our collective thoughts go out to the people in those countries, hoping that they will manage to overcome this terrible situation that they are currently in, and not have to deplore too many deaths. This is really it's really a terrible accident, and of course they concern also countries with whom we are working. So it's especially dear to us to be able to express our thoughts in this regard. But now I'm really happy to be able to introduce to you, in this case, very brave women. I can see only women around the floor, on the floor, from various levels within the higher education context in Ukraine, that we have been very happy to be able to support through our programs in their project. And I will introduce to you Irina Sikorska, who's the head of International Relations Office. She's also our higher education reform expert. Hello, Irina, and I'm happy to greet Svitlana Beschotiknokova from the Destin project as an institutional coordinator for this project. She will probably tell us more about this. She comes from the Mariupol State University. And we have Associate Professor Golovyanko Maria. She's herself project manager from Kharkiv National University of Radio Electronics, and she's involved in the WART project that we will probably hear more about later. And I'm also happy to greet 2 representatives from the student community involved in our projects. That's on the one hand, Alexandra Ivanova and also Daria Voronova from Kharkiv National University. I'm particularly happy you could make it, because I understand you were facing some real problems, real practical problems when it comes to electricity, things that we tend to forget sometimes here in our warm offices, and that affect you, of course, in your everyday life. The idea is that I ask you a couple of questions, and I will turn to our higher education institution representatives first. My question to you would be, how does your university and partnership actually manage to continue your project during the war period? And what support do you receive by your EU project partners? Irina, Svitlana, who wants to shoot first, or Maria?
Hello. Thank you, Ms. Gessler. Thank you, Barbara, for kind introduction. I would probably start. Well, first of all, I would like to swear that in our project teams we have males, but today we are only women represent our project teams. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, everybody. Greetings to all the participants of this grand event. It is a big honor to be here today and to welcome the grant holder of the Erasmus Plus Capacity Building Higher Education 2023. I'm Irina Sikorska from Mariupol State University. I represent the team of the project International Students Adaptation and Integration. And at the outset, I would like to say that this project was long expected, long waited for, and well recognized and accepted by all the academic community of Ukraine. And as you see on this slide, on the screen, that 9 Ukrainian universities in 2020 joined the consortium of the European universities from the Netherlands, Germany, Lithuania, and Italy. Well, needless to say that the project went through the big and unprecedented challenges. First, it was COVID-19 pandemic, and then and now a war in our land. So we needed to communicate with our partners and with the European agency and the National Erasmus Office, all the problems and all the challenges we had to go through. And under these conditions, as you can imagine, we had to redesign and readjust our project objectives, project content, to reschedule and to transfer to online format our study visits and so on and so forth. Our major loss is that Mariupol State University and Karazin Kharkiv National University were badly ruined by Russian aggressors. They literally lost their premises and project, including project equipment, which had been already received by that time. Mariupol State University was displaced to Kiev, and we literally had to start our functioning from scratch. But I'm honored to say that together we managed to continue project implementation, and major project outputs were produced, like roadmap for helping international students to integrate into academic society, community of Ukrainian universities. We upgraded the training courses for our international students, and again we communicated and shared alone the practices from our European university partners, and exchanged best practices among our Ukrainian university partnership. The project period was extended till November 2023, and we are now, so to say, at the finish line. Still, we are working on the readjusting and rescheduling the content and the project events, activities, according to the particular situation and the critical needs of each Ukrainian university partner. In this regard, I would like to say that we really highly appreciate the support and prompt feedback from our European universities, from our grant holder, the Netherlands Business Academy, from the European agency, and of course from our national Erasmus Plus office team. Within the format of this session, this is probably all that I wanted to share with you, and here I pass on the word to my colleague. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irina. Yeah, okay.
Yes, please.
Can I continue?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm happy if you take the floor to complement what Irina just said from your own experience. Also, maybe interesting for the other partners in the audience. You know, how concretely can have the other universities and higher education institutions actually been able to support you? We heard that we tried to display flexibility when it came to extending eligibility periods and similar. How concretely could the others help you from Europe and from other regions?
Course. So thank you for your question. Thank you, Irina, for giving me a floor. It is really a great honor and a big opportunity to be present here, and we are very grateful to Erasmus project program and to Ukrainian Erasmus office for this opportunity to be here and present our results. First of all, I would like to say about the main result of the Destin project, because it was extraordinary project. It is a project which was included into the list of top 100, the most successful Erasmus projects of the previous year. And among the main results, I would like to emphasize, first of all, 3 points. It is curriculum reform in 10 Ukrainian universities, reform of 22 journalism masters and bachelor programs. They were upgraded according to the European qualification framework. It is national guidelines which were created by Destin team and media literacy courses which are working online now. And any student, any child, any grown up can go there and upgrade the level of media literacy. Concerning the question, of course, I wanted to say that during war period, Mariupol State University was in very difficult situation. We lost our buildings, we lost our equipment, houses and people, teachers and students. But it is a great mission for us to restore Ukrainian Mariupol State University and to participate in such an international projects. And we are very grateful to our European colleagues because thanks to this help, we fulfilled all our obligations. Our project became more flexible, of course, more digital, in some parts more multicultural. And I would like to say that the main tool which helped us to survive, it was this network created after the Destin project, because in connection with our European partners, we can continue to improve our curriculum and to improve the level of our program and of our students. If to say about concrete things, I would like to see maybe the presentation. We mentioned so many facts there because after the project, thanks to this network, we became the members of the European Journalism Training Association. In this European Journalism Training Association, we participated in so many events where we presented Mariupol Journalism School. Thanks to this, we can give opportunity to our professors and to our students to be integrated into the European educational system and to participate in so many interesting events. We can mention there during the last year, the annual general meeting of European Journalism Training Association where we participated, teachers conference in Denmark of the same net, conference Media and Trust in Georgia where we were presented also and participated and share experience. Then we joined ESTA projects. And the biggest project, it is new project on inclusive journalism, where Mariupol State University will participate as a member of European Journalism Training Association. As a result, next year we will include such course into our bachelor program on inclusive journalism. Cooperation with Destin partners and the presentation of Mariupol Journalism School gave us opportunities to sign a memorandum of cooperation with Thomas More University of Applied Sciences in Belgium. This memorandum can help us in students exchange, in development of students' research activities, and other important things. Also, we continue to work with Newcastle University after Destin was finished. It is a Civic Journalism Lab of Newcastle University. In this work, we participate, and in spring we will speak again about our experience of teaching journalism and exchange with our colleagues practices, and we will talk about BBC best results. It is so interesting and so inspiring for journalism students. We also were invited to Thessaloniki International Media Summer Academy, and our student Alexandra today will say a few words about this wonderful event, because it was really a very nice opportunity for cooperation. We created the last on the basis of our media literacy and media research laboratory. We restored digital form of it, a place where we can share experience with our colleagues from Europe. And this spring, so many professors are invited from Austria, from Great Britain, from Netherlands. We were happy to meet them and to speak about sustainable development of destined results and about improvement of our curriculum in future and improvement of the journalism education in Ukraine in general. I would like to say the last that Destin is finished, but Destin results are working in Mariupol State University.
Thank you very much, Svetlana, in particular for your last remark, which I think really strikes a chord, because that's obviously what we're aiming at in all our cooperation projects, that even after the end of the project, the cooperation goes on, that there will be this kind of fabric that you will be building together with other institutions in other regions in Europe and outside Europe, that will then continue to live, and this is the sustainable part of what we aim to do with the projects that we support. So thank you very much. Also, you're working, of course, in a very, very highly politically important area that needs to be further developed in Europe and outside Europe. So thank you very much. And I would like to give the floor now to Maria from Kharkiv. What have you experienced as concrete support? How did you manage, thanks to the support of your partners in your project, to redesign the project as it was not intended to be in the beginning and that was impacted by the war?
Yes, first of all, let me thank you for this kind invitation to this wonderful event. In 2014, when the first stage of the Russian war against Ukraine started, we saw an obvious explicit need in a new security toolkits for society to respond to the emerging hybrid threats. So we started the project, and the wider objective of our one project was to maintain societal resilience, to promote a whole of society security approach by educating society to respond to hybrid threats. We planned to build a strong academic community fighting against hybrid threats with all possible academic means created together with our European Union partners. And after the full-scale invasion, the societal demand for security skills and resilience has significantly increased. So the results of our project have become even more appreciated and understood in the society. And that forced us to continue, to recover and react very quickly after the initial shock of the full-scale invasion. We became not only change agents, which is typical for capacity building projects, but we felt that we have to be resilience agents for Ukraine in that situation. So we mobilized all possible resources. We transferred our communication and coordination online. We've had regular video conference meetings with our partners from the consortium. We duplicated all the resources and sent them to clouds. We also managed to hold rather successful online student enrollment campaigns. So we attracted a lot of students to our updated master programs, and already in 2022 we could train the students to reveal, deter and react on hybrid threats, and some of the students are here today and they will also talk about their experience. So we did it despite all the negative factors, despite the dramatically changed working environment, displacement of many members of the team to relatively safer places in Ukraine or abroad, despite the destroyed or closed university buildings and absence of the excess or destroyed equipment, despite all the blackouts that we are experiencing, and even some psychological pressures and traumas in the project team. For example, our partner, Donbas State Pedagogical University, which in 2014 had been moved to Bakhmut from Horlivka, had to move for the second time, leaving everything behind them for the second time. Now they are situated in Dnipro, in central Ukraine, and you probably know that Bakhmut is now in ruins, and a severe battle for this Ukrainian town is happening right now while we are speaking. So the building of another our partner, Kharkiv Regional University of Public Administration of Karazin Kharkiv National University, was completely destroyed in March by Russian missiles with all the equipment inside. So, but it didn't prevent them from continuing working on the project, and they even outperformed themselves because they were able to start a new master program which wasn't planned at the beginning of the project. It is called Public Policy and Management Under Conditions of Hybrid Threats. And naturally, all these couldn't be done without the help of our European Union partners, without the help of European Education and Culture Executive Agency, and a great help from the Erasmus National Office. They supported us all the way along, adjusting to the situation together with us, to becoming more flexible together with us. They were open to the search of new, sometimes unexpected solutions. And Erasmus Office provided a very good guidance on every emerging issue we experienced. They helped us buy new equipment instead of the lost one. And they really helped us redesigning the project so we can continue.
Thank you very much, Maria. I think you already gave some very good insight, a question that I also wanted to ask you later, if we still have the time, which I think we may not have, because we wanted to give also, of course, the floor to our student representatives this morning before we move to the next session. You already gave some very concrete insight on how you managed, the three of you, in your respective very relevant projects to redesign and reschedule, and the concrete support that others could give to you. Thank you very much. But I would now like to ask our student colleagues. How did you manage? We have a little bit of time left, but we would like to hear from you. How do you manage to continue your studies now in this war situation? How do you? How does one study? How can one imagine life as a student in Ukraine today? And is there something that you would like to say that you've already learned now, thanks to your project participation, that you would like to give on to others, where they could learn from? I don't know who wants to start, Alexandra or Daria. We have a couple of minutes.
Maybe I can start if you agree.
For us, that's perfect.
Okay, my name is Alexandra Postoeva, and I am a student of Mariupol State University. And I can say that it's quite difficult to be a student during the war, of course, but I try to complete all my tasks despite of the lack of electricity and the internet. We have special places where we can charge our devices, so I go there to study. And we have co-working spaces. Next, I want to tell you about my experience in participating in the Erasmus Plus and Destin programs. I'm really grateful that I'm in the Destin program. Thanks to Destin, my courses at the university became more exciting. There is more practice, which my classmates and I completed with joy. For example, in the course of media literacy, we learned to recognize fakes, and this is an incredibly important skill for journalists. On the course of newspaper and magazine production, we had the opportunity to unite in editorial office and even to create our own magazine. And it was my favorite part of job for all the time from studying. And I think that it's also so cool that our students have the opportunity to take part in international conferences, trainings, and develop themselves. I also gained valuable experience of being in International Academy in Greece last summer. There I got acquainted with practicing journalists from all over the world, Italy, Finland, Georgia, Bulgaria, and other European countries. And among our mentors were professionals even from the USA. And I'm happy to note that the standards of education in Mariupol State University are truly European. Students themselves have the opportunity to suggest ways to improve their studying. So here I'll finish. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. Daria, what's your experience? What can you share with our audience this morning?
Okay, good morning. I'm glad to represent Kharkiv National University of Radio Electronics. Maybe firstly, I want to say some words about my feelings when everything started. I think every Ukrainian had a lot of emotions once the war started. For me, the first days or even weeks were a time when you didn't really know what to do. But then the desire to continue studying was obvious, because doing nothing is just increased sadness and feeling empty inside. Thanks to our teachers and understanding of the situation, studying wasn't hard. At the same time, distance learning wouldn't be possible without new technologies and a lot of internet platforms for studying. I have learned hybrid threads course, which is a part of a WARN project for a half of the year, and I'm sure this knowledge could be relevant, especially in this period when the war began in our country. During this period, quantity of hybrid threads is always increasing, so thanks to knowledge that were learned during this course, I can help to detect them and to react by a lot of powerful artificial intelligence tools, for example, deepfake. And I will be happy to continue learning and growing up in this area to make our future better. Thank you.
That's so nice of you how you say that. Thank you very much, Daria. But I just learned that there's another Alexandra in the room today. Alexandra, do you also want to say a couple of words? Before we unfortunately have to close the session, I think we would all like to continue talking and hearing from you. But unfortunately, our colleagues are already in the room and patiently waiting to talk to you. So, but Alexandra, please, a few words from you also on how you experience this, and if you feel hope, also thanks to your engagement in the project.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Thank you for having me here. It's really a big honor to participate in such a grand event. I want to say that it was quite a psychological trial to study during quarantine, but during the war, this isolation it stepped up to a whole new level. Even now, I want to say that I don't know in which second will be an air alarm, in which second Russian missiles will go to our city and try to somehow detach me from you. So because of that, I want to concentrate on hybrid threat subjects that I was studying during my time with the Warn project. I want to say about it that it was really relevant for me. During the months of war, I understood how naive I was before the invasion. And during this course, all my knowledge that I acquired during this month, I could concentrate on that. And while we were performing some tasks in our classes, I found out that I knew a lot more than I thought. And hybrid threats course also it taught me to see beyond what we could see on the surface. And because of that, I want to thank Warn Project for this great course and say that I see that it must be performed not only in universities and the master's degree program, but I would like also in the future to see it in school programs, because nowadays children are introduced to modern technology really early in their life, and they need to know about hybrid threats. Firstly, about, for example, filtering information. Why is it so important? Because nowadays I see a lot of situations, hear about them, when children are dragged into the war without their will. For example, we are games on the internet which are made by the Russian, for example, sources, and they help to coordinate their missile attacks, for example. And because of that, I think it would be really great to see such a project in school program. For example, in middle school, they will introduce basics and then they will get more and more information during the high school years. That way they will be introduced to everything and will be ready for every situation that they might ever meet in their life. So I want to thank everybody.
Yes. Thank you very much, Alexandra. Yes, I'm sorry I have to cut everybody a bit short. As I said, I think we could continue more, and you know that you have a platform and a market space to interact, and I think this will also give you the opportunity to also maybe give recommendations to other Ukrainian universities that haven't spoken this morning, also that have been selected in the last call, also to give them maybe real concrete tips and hints on how to continue their project in this current situation, and also maybe institutions in other countries that are in a war situation. So please make use of the interactive space that you have to kind of exchange on this. I want to thank you very, very much also for the intervention and the support to all around the table for organizing this morning session. It's heartening and it's heartwarming and it's very inspiring to all of you, to all of us, what you are doing there in Ukraine. I now give the floor to a short energizing proposal from our facilitators before we turn to the political part of this morning's session.